This conversation is powered by Google Illuminate. Check out illuminate.google.com for more. We're diving into a fascinating debate today. Um, is open source AI truly a privacy haven, or is it a wolf in sheep's clothing?
The idea that open source equals privacy safe is a common misconception.
Yeah,
Yeah, and one that needs a closer look.
exactly. The fact that the code is transparent doesn't automatically mean the model's behavior is transparent, you know?
Right. The pre-trained weights, those billions of parameters, they're the real black box. They're incredibly hard to really audit properly.
So even with OpenCon, we could still be dealing with hidden biases or backdoors.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a major vulnerability.
Let's talk about those hidden biases and backdoors. How can they show up in an open source model?
One way is through data poisoning during fine-tuning. Imagine a model trained to subtly change its responses based on location or keywords.
So a model that seems neutral could be tweaked to favor certain ideas or silence others.
Exactly. Or it could give different answers depending on user's IP address, creating different responses for different regions.
And what about those secret trigger words?
Those are specific phrases designed to activate hidden behaviors, basically bypassing the model's normal way of working. It's a pretty sophisticated way to manipulate things.
The pre-trained weights themselves are another problem.
Yeah, if the original training data isn't public, it's impossible to fully understand what's influencing the model's answers.
So even with open source code, there's a risk of built-in censorship or bias reinforcement.
Exactly. The model could be subtly pushing conversations in certain directions without users even realizing it. And there's the risk of hitting data collection.
Even if the model is open source, the platform hosting it could still be tracking user data.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
The model itself might be transparent, but the stuff around it might not be.
Let's talk about software and cloud vulnerabilities.
Using a cloud-hosted open-source model introduces risks like inference tracking, where your searches are logged and analyzed.
So even if the model starts safe, it could be updated later with problematic stuff.
Absolutely. And APIs and data logging on those platforms are another worry. Data might be stored for a short time or, forever.
It seems like the model's security is just one part of the picture.
Precisely. The whole system, from the training data to the platform it runs on, needs to be secure and transparent.
The possibility of bad actors using open source models is a big concern.
Bad guys could easily modify models for disinformation campaigns, remove safety features, or use them in surveillance.
So the very openness meant to promote transparency could be used for bad things?
Unfortunately, yes. A government or organization could take an open source model, change it for data collection, and use it while pretending it's transparent.
That's a scary thought. The geopolitical stuff is also important.
The rise of open source models from different countries raises questions about where they come from and what biases they might have.
Take DeepSeek R1, for example. Even with open architecture, we can't be totally sure about the training data or if it's been manipulated.
Exactly. The lack of complete transparency creates uncertainty and potential problems.
It shows we need to carefully evaluate these models, no matter if they're open source or not. What can users do to protect their privacy when using open source AI?
Self-hosting whenever you can is best. That eliminates cloud tracking risks.
And verifying model weights using models with fully disclosed training data is really important.
Absolutely. Monitoring network traffic, using VPNs and privacy tools, and being skeptical of updates are also important.
It's about being proactive and knowing what's going on.
Precisely. You can't just assume open source means safe.
So open source AI is more transparent than closed systems, but it's not a magic solution for privacy.
The key is to understand the limits and potential risks, and to take steps to protect your data.
A big thanks to Jay Poole from Tech Frontiers YouTube for their great article. What are your thoughts on this? Share your opinions in the comments below. That was a great discussion. Thank you.